Absolutely.
Yeah, we're good to go.
Are we?
Yep.
I need to find me first. that would help. Yes. Hi everybody. Nick Watchorn here from LNPG. I'm actually in sunny Portugal right now. So if you can see behind me, there's a window and it's not my normal kitchen. So before we start, I just have to say to you, look, because this is being recorded under GDPR rules, if you don't want to be recorded, keep your screen on mute, or what they call it, without video, or can you leave and watch it on Facebook Live? Okay, as I said, my name is Nick Watchorn. I'm going to introduce you to Tracy. We're going to introduce you to Bav and Daniel. Daniel is from HSS. Okay, we did have a partner with them before COVID, which it was going really, really well, and Justin then stepped up for us and helped us out. But HSS now have got their, I wouldn't say act together, because they've made a lot of stores gone, but it's all done centrally through your head office now. Well, a lot of it is, and we'll be using that system as well. But it is really pleased that we're welcoming HSS back, because from the figures that we saw, an awful lot of LNPG members was using HSS. And again, the prices were really good as well. Oh, and I forgot to actually mention Paul. Really, I ever see Paul now. Lord Manor Paul, I call him now. I do enjoy saying that. But just like to say hi to everybody. And Paul and Tracy and Bav, good luck, because I'm going to stay for the whole meeting. But do I hand you over to you now, Bav, or do I just hand it all over to Daniel?
No, if Daniel's good to go, we can just hand it over to him.
Okay. Are you doing a presentation tonight?
Yeah, I've got one prepared for you.
Oh,
yeah.
good. Yeah. Oh, what's that?
Perfect.
Good.
Yeah, perfect, brilliant. Okay, so yes, as Nick kindly mentioned, we did have a partnership quite a while back, about 3 years ago. Unfortunately, yeah, we did have to shut quite a few number of our stores down. It was in the pipeline, but unfortunately, COVID kind of pushed us a little bit forward, closed that mark. So, yeah, we've now created more of a central hub in Manchester. That's where I'll be based from. There'll be a small team of us here managing LNPG's partnership. So without further ado, just to kind of obviously brief anyone about HSS, we are actually the first original hire company to grace the UK, somewhat 60 years ago plus. Obviously, there's a little bit of information. I'm not just going to read it word for word. You can have a little look through it. Just a little bit of information, obviously, over the decades of HSS, leading into the new era, a bit more up-to-date information. So if I lead you into the 2020s, the HSS Hire launches ProServe as it adapts into the virtual world. Something I was mentioning we was planning on doing, you know, ourselves anyway. But we've, yeah, we went into do a bit more of our virtual kind of selling platform. We've created a central hub. A lot of our branches, as I say, we had to reduce our branches down, which was in the pipeline, and using more CDCs. And that's basically a collection point for people to pick up from. And then obviously, as we've come back into 2022, we've relaunched our partnership up with LNPG. So obviously, for these next few slides, now you get to see my beautiful face twice. I'm going to be the first contact for everything. A bit about my background here is I've worked with LNPG before. There'd be some members who might still remember me when I worked over at AO Business. I was with them for 2.5 years working on the LNPG partnership there, and I've brought it obviously into HSS in the hopes of rekindling that partnership again and creating it more successful, as it were, you know, at AO Business. Yep. So as you get through to me, if I'm not available, we have a ragtag bunch of staff here that are essentially going to be working the ProServe team. This was our Halloween. This was a couple of weeks ago, as Halloween were. We all dressed up in the office there. So we had 30 employees essentially at the moment who work on the customer excellence AI support for ourselves. Now there is going to be 3 of those which are going to be assigned solely to LNPG. But as obviously as people may progress within businesses, just know there is always there 30 more people we can pick from as this grows as well. Essentially, the LNPG team could grow also. and we've got the resources there to provide it. Escalation points. We've got my line manager is Luke Bell. We've got Amy Carr and Nathan Mudd. Again, we couldn't find a picture for Nathan, unfortunately, so we went with his Halloween outfit. As you can see there, we've got quite a good escalation point between these guys. They've probably got best of 50 years experience at HSS Hire. As much as Luke might look a little bit younger in that one, he'll pay me to use that picture of him because it's about 10 years old. So obviously the contacts is a little bit different than what it were previously. We've obviously there was one point of contact in the previous partnership with HSS. There is now one point of contact which has a diversion to the 3 colleagues who will be supporting me on this as well. There is obviously now a dedicated email address set up solely for LNPG, which is manned by myself and those 3 colleagues. The opening times for contacting us are stated there between Monday and Friday to get hold of myself as those hours. And we have got Saturday staff who's going to be manning the LNPG lines as well once they're all up and briefed as well. These contact details are obviously on the website. You can have a little look through the LNPG partnership for HSS, and they're all there as well. Obviously, I'll put the slide back up towards the end as well for anyone who wants to take all those details. Has anyone got any questions so far?
We've had one question come in to the chat, just asking you to clarify what CDC is.
So it's almost like a storage unit in a sense. It's where we hold our kit. Obviously, as you can imagine, we have quite well, as we kind of progress through these slides, you'll understand how much kit is available to you guys. And a CDC really is where we kind of hold it.
All right, perfect.
But that's being almost turned into a collection point.
Oh, okay. And of course, the elephant in the room, we had to address it just to get more clarification for the members. So I know from LNPG's perspective on what happened between HSS and LNPG in terms of the previous partnership, but could you just shed some light on that just so we can get a clearer picture?
Yeah, of course. So unfortunately, there was a gentleman who set this up originally that worked out of one branch. He then set up the partnership with the one point of contact we've now provided you guys, the 016 number. He provided a mobile number to his work line, which didn't divert to anyone. Unfortunately, so when anyone was contacting him and he wasn't available or he was on the phone himself, calls were being missed, so people weren't being answered. It kind of led a lot of people to go into branches, and because obviously he'd set this up within one branch, all the other branches nationwide, 150 of them at the time, weren't aware of the partnership. He hadn't briefed everyone. It was ran poor, in all honesty, and it is a hands up on HSS's part as well. But yeah, a lot of people were going into branches. They were mentioning there was LNPG members. There was a credit account set up for LNPG, which shouldn't have been set up in the first place, and which the orders were being put on that credit account and not being paid for by customers. But again, none of the customers' fault. They just they didn't know the process either because it hadn't been set up correctly in the first place. So yeah, as I say, me coming into HSS with an understanding of LNPG, working with them for almost 3 years with AO Business, it's given me a great understanding of how to operate a partnership with LNPG, make it successful and make it work. So I've obviously been in the background creating this model for LNPG's partnership and how to successfully do it first time. And now that we've created a central hub for LNPG to contact, it will now be answered by one of 4 people who will always be available.
Oh,
and again,
that was one of the questions I was going to ask. If for some reason all 4 of you on the phone, can you tell me what happens then? So
the whole office is evidently briefed on LNPG, but so it doesn't get lost in translation, we narrowed it down to just the 4 people. If obviously we do start receiving higher call volumes, it will essentially be put in a hold really until somebody becomes available. We will obviously review this situation quite regular to make sure that if holds are not going over a prolonged period of time, calls are not being missed, and if that is the case, we will restructure and essentially add another one from that 30
Oh, that's brilliant. I just want to know, is it put on a hold in the hold system? It's just not cut off, and so the member goes, "Oh, I don't quite know what to do now." Yes. Okay,
No,
you've got. And if let's say there was a 10-minute thing and they didn't have time to go into a looping system, yes, can they just email you what they're looking for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. So all 4 of us will have access to the email system. It will be predominantly managed by myself in terms of, you know, passing them out to the individuals to process for the customer. And yeah, so there is 2 forms of contacting us essentially, and that is through the phone lines and through email, which will always be manned as well. So the hire process, I've kind of touched on it a little bit. So starting in the top left-hand corner, so you'll contact obviously the direct contact number, which will come through to my team, or you can email through. Obviously, make sure you have your membership number ready, because obviously we will be checking membership numbers. Delivery of obviously we offer delivery and collection from obviously local branches and CDCs. Again, I'll go through the process of being able to find your local branch. Obviously, with the ones that we have closed down. Some will have local ones, which obviously are no longer there anymore, but there will be availability for collection in a closer area. So we'll have a look at that a little bit later into the slides. But moving on from there, obviously, we can do 2 forms of payment. If you're a cash customer, obviously you'll pay for via card through a secure email, which gets sent to you with the full quote attached. So there's no payment over the phone, essentially, which won't be taken. So again, keeping in terms with the GDPR, we don't take any details from you. So, but cash customers will have to pay for the hire period prior to receiving their kit. It's a little bit different for credit customers. Anyone is more than welcome to set up a credit account. And again, I'll run through that a little bit later on in the slides, or the perks of them. But credit customers wouldn't require a payment. They'll actually receive paperless invoices monthly. Obviously, you'll be able to go collect your kit. At that point, obviously, if it's been delivered down to site, you'll be able to utilize it. If you do have any issues whatsoever, breakdowns, obviously they do happen, you can just call back through to the central line to myself or the team, and we can escalate obviously a breakdown, which will evidently send out an engineer to make sure it gets fixed. So any issues you can just contact us for. It isn't just obviously about hiring from it. We will run the whole process. Once it is obviously time to collect your kit, you again ring through to the central line, let us know. You can have it on open hire if it is a credit customer, because obviously it's an invoice system which gets billed to you monthly. So you can put things on open hire if you're not too sure of the time periods. Again, one of the perks of the credit accounts. But yeah, so you would have to call through if it's an open hire just to arrange that off hire. But you can set the time frame you want to hire the period for. So it doesn't just have to be on open hire and you have to ring in. You can set it for just a week, a day, and so forth, longer periods if needed. Obviously, we can discuss that if longer periods are needed. In relation to cash customers, if they've paid for a set amount of time period, let's say they've took a carpet cleaner off us for a week's hire, they've made the payment up front, but you've come to the 7th day, you're due to deliver it back to branch, and you realize you need it for an additional day. You can ring through to us and we can extend that, and all you pay for is that additional day as an extended hire. So that is available to cash customers as well. Same as, again, if you've set a kind of a limit with a credit customer, it's easy for us to extend that on the system, and again, it gets billed to the monthly invoice. If you are paying by cash, there is a deposit which is needed. It does tend to be 2 weeks additional hire period, which is obviously quite common within the hire industry for cash customers, but that is essentially refunded back to you within 3 and 5 working days of the off hire period of your collection of our kit. And then, yeah, loop back around for your next hire. It's the process is nice and simple. It is all filtered through one central hub on that one.
And we've had another question come in from a member asking, do you deliver nationwide from your CDC?
We do, yeah.
Okay, so they're based in Surrey by the looks of it, and they're just checking to see if they can get your services there.
Yeah, we do. And again, once we go through kit and stuff, again, depending on the size as well, we can get everything arranged in terms of delivery. It's got really good, quite a good system we use in terms of availability to be able to get all the pricing for transport as well, if it obviously is delivery. And it's nice and simple, and the quote comes through nice and clean, and it's all laid out for you as well, how much the transport cost would be. But yeah, sorry, we would be able to. we've delivered to some crazy places you wouldn't believe, but some of the little smaller isles off the coast are quite difficult to get to. They have to take ferries and so forth. And yeah, we've delivered to some quite difficult places before. I mean, HSS own 15,000 pieces of kit, and that number just does keep going up. And not only do we work, we have our own 15,000 pieces of kit, but we also have working partnerships with over 650 suppliers. Again, that number just keeps going up. So essentially, everything is covered by HSS. Now, we onboard that many suppliers because there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of pieces of variated kit out there that obviously we can't have all of it and hold it within our obviously CDCs. Obviously, as you can imagine, charges for so forth in terms of keeping hold of all that kit will be through the roof. So we utilize specialist kit from our suppliers, and again, and be able to access their kit and to utilize and take their kit and be able to provide it to our customers as well. So the pieces of kit which we'll run through in terms of the discounts what are available to LNPG, they cover all of the kit, including the suppliers, but evidently you'll get the majority of your discount is the 15,000 pieces of kit that HSS own, because we have the ability to obviously discount it as much as we can do, which again, once we kind of run through discounts in a second, you'll be able to see the level of discount we can provide on our kit for you guys against the web rate. But just again, just a couple of ideas of that's off our website. This little image on the side here. So you can hover over to hire, go through all them sections, and obviously pretty much you're covered through all them. I've got a little bit of a slide on the website, just if anyone's never been on there before. It is fairly simple to navigate yourself through. I do urge you to have a little look at obviously the kit that is now available to you is on there as well. There we go onto the discount. So these are kind of the categories that the discounts fall in. Now there are individual discounts which again it's pages full. I think there's about 250 individual pieces of kit that have a set discount, which would be higher than that. But as a category, if any of the pieces of kit fall within that category, you have a base level discount if it hasn't got a one set against it of the percentage you see there in front of you. And if there's any of them categories that haven't been covered with a discount, you'll see from that top bar there, HSS will provide a minimum of 69% discount across all core equipment. When we refer to core equipment, it is our kit, the 15,000 pieces of kit. Rehire is suppliers kit. Just for the terminology, when we do start communicating with LNPG members and we start using our terminology, just a little bit of a lesson on that one.
And is this 69% off the website price?
So it's the bookmark price. So the website can change quite predominantly. They put offers on here, there, and everywhere, and it fluctuates within seasons as well, obviously depending on well, if you think of it on a seasonal term, you know, cooling is predominantly bought within summer months, and heating is predominantly bought within winter months. So obviously the availability can differ because there's more demand for it, of which prices do fluctuate. So this is off the book price, so that is a set rate. So that is taken off, yeah.
And will LNPG members be able to beat that offer price with these discounts?
I mean, I do challenge people. We had a couple of calls come in off the back of the invitations for this webinar, of which we were challenged, and evidently I went away. I do love a challenge. Please do present me with them, because I will always try and fight for it where possible. Of which we did manage to reduce it down to the rate that they found elsewhere. So, you know, we can't always promise we're always going to be the cheapest on everything. There are some items that you will find out there where essentially they may have maybe cheaper. A lot of smaller companies do undercut some larger companies, but always understand that regardless of it all, the service will always follow and essentially be a price you probably wouldn't put on it. It's going to kind of, yeah, we're going to follow the full journey from delivery down to collection, invoicing, and so forth. You kind of you're going to be supported on the whole thing, and that is something that we're going to kind of bring to the table with this.
But as I say, if we're out on price in a particular category, okay, obviously, and I assume you're going to look at that pricing book on, because one of the things is that we promise our members is challenges on price. We've had it with Juicens, and now Juicens, is that if they say you won't beat us on price, you might beat us on one particular product, but on a basket of goods, you'll be very hard pushed to beat Juicens prices on their product range. Because, like you said, things are going north at the moment, but it's starting to calm down. But if we're totally out on a particular, like drills or whatever it is, we want to be able to challenge that and say, look, we need to come up with a better price, because members will just do their talking with their feet and go elsewhere. I know this is a new relationship and we're trying to build it, okay, but we have to be right on price, because there's no point in LNPG existing. And I say that to all the partners. So as long as there is a discussion with you that we can look at a particular price or look at a category to say, look, we're miles out.
Yeah, no, I mean, this isn't fixed for future. It's things change, prices change. We you know, if we start noticing, and you guys as well, you know, start picking up on that we're well out of our competitors and Juicens, by all means, we will openly have a conversation about it, review it, have a look at the prices out there, and obviously discount ours accordingly. It's always up for discussion. You know, as you mentioned, this is a fresh partnership again for us, so we want to quickly iron out any creases to make sure that we go straight in and have a smooth transaction for the future as well. Okay,
great. All right, I just want to make that really clear.
Richard in the chat has just put a quick question in asking, when logged into your website, would an LNPG member be able to see the LNPG pricing, even if they have a cash or a credit account?
We've not got that set up just yet. However, this, as I say, this is fairly new, obviously, to our central hub. It's definitely new for us. So this is stuff that, you know, we like to take on board, especially the feedback, as if it does evidently become, you know, more than successful than what we're expecting. It's definitely in the pipeline to be able to put something like that in place, hopefully, for you guys to be able to log into. Now, when you do get, again, I don't want to keep pushing on the credit accounts, but we have one set, all these discounts here are basically compelled into a system that can be attached to a credit account, and it can be duplicated and it can be attached to numerous accounts. So we've got one pricing list. So if you do set up a credit account with us, we can attach that directly onto your account, and essentially you can trade then with discounts applied. If that's one way of doing it at the moment, but yeah, creating maybe a portal for LNPG, something that potentially could be something that we build in the pipeline for something for the future. You know, as this becomes successful, say you've been with Juicens now. I watched the webinar as well. I've watched a few of them. Obviously, I've been involved with LNPG, and I like to keep up to date with you guys. So I do keep involved where I can. And yeah, I see Juicens of, you know, over the last 3 years have developed with you guys, and it's been brilliant. They've stepped in and you know, picked up where we evidently failed. And yeah, and they're now progressing. They've now created a team for you guys as well, which is brilliant to see. So they are progressing as you guys have progressed with them as well. And again, portal is not out of the question. It is something that we can have a look at a little bit down the line as we kind of progress through this.
Perfect. And to be honest, if you do go on our partners page for HSS, you will see a show prices button on the top right corner. So LNPG members, whether it's a cash or a credit account, you will still be able to view the prices. It'll just be on the LNPG website, unless and until we have another portal.
Yeah, and again, all the product codes for the individual pricings are attached on the website there, as Brav mentioned, and you can just take that product code and pop it into our website, and it'll just present that piece of kit for you, so you'll be able to visibly see it. So that is a nice little structure for the time being, if you do want to see what the types of kit you are getting the discounts on and knowing what prices you're getting on them. But I mean, by all means, give us a call. As I say, we are, the urge is just to kind of give us a call, have a chat with us. Any queries you might have regarding what types of kit you may need, we can evidently provide alternatives. If anyone is like struggling with knowing what types of kit they would need, that office is filled with years and years and years of experience. who again we're able to lean on and feed off as well. So it's a good kind of model we've created for this.
Perfect. Yeah, all good.
Yeah. We'll move on to the next one. So obviously that was just the discounts there before. The big discounts will befall on the core kit. As I mentioned about the over 650 specialist suppliers that we utilize our services with, you also have access to their kit as well. Obviously there are, you know, as someone mentioned before, scissors, we do own our own scissors up to a certain height. After that, we will start to rehire them and utilize our suppliers. Now, as I mentioned, with HSS being the first hire company, as you can imagine, so the suppliers that we've grown on our books over the times, we've got really, really strong, powerful relations with. They provide us a really good level discount based off their book rate anyway, and then essentially you get your discount on that as well. So it's you do get a really big benefit of HSS here with these strong partnerships that we've created over the years.
Roger's come in with a quick question asking, what are the delivery and connection charges?
It can vary depending on the kit size and again the location as well. It's, as I say, with there is, and we'll go through and have a look at it as well in terms of trying to set some transport rates on the types of kit we, you know, in terms of sizes. As I say, if we're trying to send out a scissor, it evidently costs you a lot more than if we're going to come deliver a carpet cleaner. Obviously, because it's manpower and labour. So it does vary. I mean, if you are looking at small items in a close area, you're probably looking at £10 each way. If again, depending on location and kit, and that would be collection, and then we'll come collect it when you need it as well. But again, if you are close enough by to a branch, you know, evidently you'll save as well just by popping your head in. Everyone in the branches is so friendly as well, and they'll help you out, and they'll again assist you to the car with it if it's obviously a little bit heavier than you'd expected. Yeah, it can vary, just to kind of answer on that. And again, it can change again with our rehire as well, because essentially they set their own transport rates, which again, we'll have our dip on it based on our partnership. But again, each supplier will charge slightly different. And again, with ourselves, it's based on location and size of kit. But yeah, evidently ranges between £10 delivery, £10 collection, all the way up to, could be £100 delivery, £100 collection. But you are talking essentially a very large piece, or maybe a boom lift or something very large like that that takes a high up to come and deliver it. But yeah, it can vary. But again, that's all laid out. If you obviously, we don't just come through, put orders on the system. We will send you a quote to review. It's all laid down in terms of pricing, and then it's an obligation quote as well. So you obviously don't have to take us up on that and challenge us as well. If again, by all means.
And then so for like plants such as diggers, you know, members may require insurance and stuff. Do you have a preferred provider?
In terms of insurance, or in terms of plan?
In terms of insurance. So
we operate, again, depending how it works, as again with a credit customer, we would have a damage waiver, which would essentially cover the cost of that. So you wouldn't have to pay an insurance fee through it. And with cash, the deposit is essentially your insurance for it as well. If obviously the kit is lost, there will be charges for obviously the lost kit. And that damage waiver essentially covers something like a premium cover that will cover the majority of the damage as well. But it's almost like an excess. You would still have to pay a part towards damage as well. But it's like an excess. It's a small percentage on the high period and the overall cost, and then that will cover your worst case scenario.
All right, perfect.
So you don't have to get your own insurance at all.
All right. Even better.
Yeah.
And then coming to this slide, one of the major questions Tracy and myself had was that, can sole traders also be eligible for credit accounts?
Correct. Yeah. So that was a question that was brought to my attention a couple of days ago, and I got confirmation from the head of credit controllers they can be a sole trader and still set up a credit account, as well as a limited company, obviously. So yeah, just obviously you probably read through a little bit of this. Obviously the two types of customers we'll be utilizing, they're just kind of some key fundamentals of them types of customers. So cash will obviously payment will be required before the hire is carried out, and 2 weeks additional hire charge as a deposit as well. Again, refundable, which will be 3 to 5 days on the equipment's return. As I say, the credit customer side is a lot smoother. We are obviously developing actually a bit of a system internally for cash customers as well, which might make that process a little bit smoother, but it is a company-wide rollout. And again, I can't put a time frame on when that might land, but we can get that process a little bit cleaner a little bit down the line. But for credit customers, it is a nice smooth transaction. There's obviously no payment required. There's no deposit required. 1 monthly paperless invoice for the previous month's hire, and the discounts essentially can be attached to the account as well as previously mentioned. And obviously both customers are welcome. I put a little bit there at the bottom just about Facebook group. So we're going to be quite active on there. We will be putting additional promotions on there for pieces of kit over periods. Obviously try to look about more seasonal promotions. As I mentioned about heating in winter and cooling in summer, things like that might come up for those who do need it. Yeah, so just obviously have a look on that.
Bav, do we have the credit application on our website for members?
Yeah, we do in fact. So if members go to the HSS partners page, and then if they scroll all the way down to the bottom, just below the contact section, there's a documentation section there, and then members can just fill out the form straight from there.
Perfect, thank you.
You can request that form through email as well, obviously just into lnpg@hss.com. We've got it there just to send over. It'll come over on a PDF file, which is almost like an interactive PDF file. So you can just click the buttons where needed and just type in and then send it back to us. It's nice and it's a smooth transaction of doing so. It does require proof of bank. Have a bank statement. Obviously, we don't need any insensitive data, so you can blur anything out that's obviously don't need to be seen. Or the best, an easy one is to have just a blank check, nothing on a company letterhead where possible, because it doesn't get accepted through credit and they'll ask us for some more. So again, I'll outline all that a little bit further down. But if anyone does want to, again, just put a request into the inbox or give us a call, and we can get that easily sent out to you. It typically takes, when we've had it back, it can take up to about 24 to 48 hours to get set up once they've gone through all the checks. But then once that's open, you get almost like a customer tag, and it's almost like a 5-digit, 6-digit tag, and that then will be what will identify you as our customer. So we use that tag then to place the orders onto it. So it's again a nice smooth transaction for you guys as well.
Great.
So this is just the front screen of our webpage on our website. It's hss.com. It's nice and simple. I just kind of outlined a couple of points here just so you can find various things. So the one key one obviously is the branches. Obviously, if there has been some branches in your area that have shut down, you can find them through the find a branch section there, and it'll lead you onto a page where you can just put your postcode in, and then it would basically pop up like pins on a map, all the locations. Now it will say on there evidently whether it's a click and collect, and those are the collectible branches. They are clearly outlined once you go into that page. And again, you can search for whatever kit you need as well. If you know what you need, you can just go through to the search bar. The hire section in the top left underneath the ProServe sign there, that was the large category section on a previous slide where you saw all the different types of categories, and you can go into those categories and and find your stuff through that section as well. But yeah, again, I urge you to have a little look on there and see what's available to yourselves. You'd be surprised, but can save you guys quite a lot of money in the long run just by doing a little bit of DIY. And again, if you're not too sure what kit you need, please do give us a call, drop us an email if you don't know about it. We are happy to advise as well. This is an all-round service we're trying to provide you, not just a place where you can just place your orders. We're happy to help in any situation you guys are in. Again, we're happy to advise.
And also, just to confirm, I think you mentioned this already, Daniel, but if an LNPG member goes on the LNPG portal and uses the same product code on your website, it will bring up the same item, yeah?
Correct, yeah. So they're all com codes to us, our product codes. And again, the website identifies them as well. So it's, again, you put that into the search bar, just head back there, just into the top search bar there, and it will just instantly go to that piece of kit. and yeah, you'll be able to kind of on that as well. So you'll be able to be, I mean, what we're going to do as part of the service is essentially send you out a safety guide, which is a user manual for all the pieces of kit you're going to be hiring through us. That'll be sent to you through email. So if worst case scenario you are you're about to use the kit and you're not too sure how it gets going, you can literally just go back onto your emails on your phone if you've got access, and you'll be able to just go through the user manual there. But you can find it through the website as well on the individual pieces of kit. There'll be a link in the section right in the middle saying safety guide, and you can click on it and download it yourself where needed, or just view it. So it's yeah, nice and simple.
All right, brilliant.
This is kind of just me popping up the contact sheet again, really, because we are coming to the end of this presentation. I've kind of covered most bases, really, and I hope you guys have got a bit of a understanding on how to kind of operate with us going forward as we kind of move into this new partnership 2.0. Hopefully the last 0.0, we'll say. We're not going to go for a third. We're going to get it right this time. But yeah, again, those are the details for obviously our opening times, contact details. Please do take our number, and again, if you're struggling with anything, please do just give us a shout. As I say, we're happy to advise on anything, even if it's just giving us a chat and just finding out what you need to do, by all means.
All right, perfect. We've got a question coming in more so on the delivery and collection side of things again. So if there isn't a local branch available anymore, say for any reason the member doesn't have a local branch near them, would there be additional charges for items you're supplying? And what's the rough estimate?
Will there be additional charges for items we're not supplying?
What for the items you're supplying? So say if you're delivering and collecting them, I'm assuming there's of course a delivery charge.
Yeah, so it is an additional charge. It's almost like a service that's being added to the order, the delivery collection. There is no charge for collection from a branch. There is no charge whatsoever. The best thing about this as well is the reason why we're at this central hub now is that now I have access to all of the branches around the UK. And if they don't have that piece of kit that you require, essentially I can find where the next one is and move it across. So it's there for when you need it to collect. One thing I did want to obviously touch upon is if you do find yourself going into a branch and you've not rang through to the central hub, you won't be able to place an order over the branch and receive the discounts you received. They have to be applied through my team at the central hub through the line or the email. You are more than welcome to wait at the branch while you contact through, and I can get that branch's kit reserved under your name, and then they'll be just pass it over to you. It's a nice smooth transaction that way, but they won't apply they can't apply the discount on their end. It has to come through our central hub.
All right, perfect. And a bit of a curveball, but I'm not sure if you know the answer to this one or not. But do you do handheld thermal cameras?
They may not be on our core range because it's more of it's a specialist piece of kit really, but we will have a supplier that supplies them, so we can get hold of them for you, but it'll be a rehire.
I have 100% faith on that. I mean, I've taken a look on the specialist equipment side of things, and you guys even have hovercraft, so I have no doubts that you'll be able to find a thermal camera. We've
had some requests honestly before in the past, and weirdly not, we've filled a lot of them. Because again, suppliers, all different types, will do all specialist types of kit that you wouldn't believe, and yeah, and it's crazy that we have the ability to get hold of it. So yeah, hovercraft is it wouldn't surprise me.
And just to clarify, sorry, the prices that we have on the price list, are they day rates or weekly rates? So
we can do it again. We can do a day rate. We can do it. It applies to either essentially. So we can do again. Day rate where needed. It is a little bit dearer to do it as a day rate as a individual. If obviously you spread it over a week rate, which is 7 days, obviously per day it ends up being cheaper. And again, we can obviously run through that when the questions do come in. But yeah, we did one couple again yesterday, day before. We did a dehumidifier. Looking at the rate, it was about it was about £20. Well, don't quote me on the prices because it was a couple of days ago, but it was, let's say it was £20 for the day rate, and it was about £36 for the week rate. So it was beneficial to take it for the week for the additional £16 than to have it as a £20 day rate. So the difference between prices are not far and few between the day and the week rate. So it tends to be quite beneficial. And again, worst case scenario in that is if you did need it for that additional day and you're not managed to get around to finishing the job that's needed, instead of having to ring through and pay for an additional day, you're covered over the week rate anyway, and you can bring it back earlier if needed.
All right. So just to clarify, the prices we have at the moment on the LNPG portal, is that the week rate?
So the ones that have the fixed discount on have the individual product codes, they are week rates. So the category discount will fall to day and week rate.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, just to clarify, members, the current pricing we have on the portal is the week rate. However, if you do want, day rate and it's anything specific for 2 days, 5 days, just give Daniel a quick call and he'll be able to take care of that for you.
So just again, elaborate on that. So the percentage structure on the categories there, that will be taken off the day and the week rate, but the individual discounts are week rate structures.
All right, brilliant. And then we've got a question coming in from Christine saying, can I organize that for someone working for me, but not local to me? You
can arrange that for someone, but again, if as long as it falls within the remit of the LNPG rules, by all means. Again, if you can arrange it for collection at any kind of our branches, by all means, or deliver to anywhere in the UK. So yeah, you could do.
All right, perfect.
Again, as long as it falls within the remit of the LNPG rules.
All right, brilliant. And I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, Daniel, but just to reiterate in terms of this new relationship that we formed, again, essentially, we haven't officially announced the partnership just yet. We've got your details on our portal and members can access all the pricing and everything. But if I was to hit the launch button tomorrow, is your team ready? Have they been trained and are they good to go?
Everyone's ready. Everyone's briefed. We finalized everything today prior to this to make sure, because we weren't expecting calls coming in a couple of days ago when the invites went out. We handled them and it kind of made us go, right, well, we need to make sure everything is set up before this webinar, because even the little trickle of ones that we're getting through just based off the invitations, that kind of spurred us to, well, it had to happen anyway, but it kind of got put into place and finalized today. So yeah, we are all set and sorted for tomorrow, basically. Yeah, tomorrow's a different day.
Perfect. Sounds good. And in terms of like access towers and stuff, do you guys do the assembly, or is that something that the member will have to take care on their part?
It wouldn't be part of the service. We wouldn't do the assembly for that. It is just a delivery collection situation. So they would have to have a knowledge. But again, there is instruction manuals for doing so. You aren't just left with a bunch of tower pieces and kind of having to build it up like a Lego house. You will have a step-by-step guide through the user manuals as well. And again, if there are any issues, do give us a call. Again, we've got people on site who can verbally talk you through setting that up.
Okay, brilliant. To be honest, that pretty much does it in terms of my questions. Members, you still have Daniel here, so if you do have any other questions, by all means, just pop them in the chat right here.
I have a question, Daniel. What's the process for plant hire? Is there any set criteria that members need to meet to be able to hire larger machinery?
So we are, again, as we're kind of developing it, it's not off the back of LNPG. This was something that was is in the pipeline for us, is actually being able to put more rehire kit for cash customers, because at the moment it was very limited based on the suppliers. But obviously with our obviously partnerships with those suppliers being quite strong, we've all kind of come to an agreement to put larger pieces of kit onto cash customers' availability. So again, it is something that we're developing, and in fact it's progressing quite quick. It's already started happening last week. There's now 1,000 pieces of rehire kit there available. We have obviously monitored this differently for LNPG. We're going to be obviously conversing with the suppliers direct with LNPG for rehire. So we are going to be doing it for you guys, but it's going to be a bit of a different process until, as our systems progress, it will become more a lot more streamlined for you guys and efficient for us as well. But to answer that question, yeah, you will have availability on it.
Okay, thank you.
Brilliant. So yeah, to be honest, in terms of launch side of things, we just need to just iron out a few wrinkles. That's more so on our part, just to make sure everything's good to go before we officially announce it.
Yeah.
But yeah, members should expect to see that email come through in the next few days.
Perfect. Well, as I say, you know, we're ready when you know, this has been 5 months in our pipeline, so we've definitely excited to get this underway and, you know, start this new chapter with LNPG. And again, we're going to get this right this time, as I say, under my watch. So yeah, it's going to be a very exciting time for all of us, to be honest. And you know, we're all looking forward to having those calls come through. And actually, I'm excited to actually converse with those members again. There's going to be some that will be recognizing my name, and I'll be recognizing theirs, and it's got to be quite nostalgic for me, to be honest. So I'm really geared up for this and ready to go.
Brilliant. And yeah, just to clarify,
Just say what I thought he said. He hopes, he wishes for what you wish for. Paul smiled at that one as well. That's a great presentation.
Come on.
I really understood that. It was very simple, yes, to understand how it's going to work. I was really quite impressed with that. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, so Brad Fruit sprung that one me on a Friday evening. Thank you for that one, Brad. So yeah, no, you're all good. It's necessary, isn't it? You know, it's hard to just verbally explain all this without putting it onto paper or onto the page. Yeah. So it is necessary for you guys to visualize it all and actually see what we've done, what we've done differently this time as well. I guarantee you wouldn't have had most of this previously, which is unfortunate, but yeah, we're here now, and you know, working with Jusons as well as a joint partnership for hire tools. Between the pair of us, you're going to be covered for everything. So yeah, good time for you guys.
Perfect.
Yeah, I still want to find out who's hiring the first JCB. That'll be interesting.
I might have a go myself, Nick.
Oh, don't you knock the whole street down.
So yeah, just to clarify for the members, while we haven't officially announced the partnership just yet, you can still access the discounted prices as of now. So you won't have to wait for the announcement to access the pricing.
Good.
Richard says he's up for hiring the hovercraft and a pilot as well.
give us a call back in 8:30 tomorrow morning. I'll see what I can do for you. I can't imagine it to be cheap, but I can still get it.
All right, perfect. It looks like we don't have any other further questions coming in.
Okay, great.
Yes,
yeah,
just one from Christine, just asking if she can watch this Zoom later on. Yes, it will be added to the webinar library on the LNPG website.
Yeah, as always, the webinar will be on our YouTube page. It's already on our Facebook. So yeah, you can rewatch this whenever required.
Good.
And then before you guys go, just a quick heads up in terms of our webinar for next week. So we're going to have, it's more of a financial one this time around. So we've got our partners coming in from, would have helped if I had this ready. But yeah, that's it. Perfect. Thanks, Paul. So we've got Roma Finance in next week. So things will be a lot more technical in that aspect. But yeah, stay tuned.
Oh, one question I was going to ask: what time are we starting? Are we starting at 7:15 or 7 o'clock?
See, Tracy and I were under the impression of 7 o'clock, but Ant kind of threw a curveball in there and said 6:45. So that's something.
6:45.
Yeah, I mean, we can leave this.
Saying 7 o'clock. So
yeah,
as somebody's already come up, we'll do it at 7 o'clock.
Brilliant. All right, that's decided then.
Okay.